hello everyone, and welcome to a very exciting episode of Death Battle Cast. I'm Ben, voice of Wiz in the Death Battle. That show that you may have heard of. I'm joined by, of course, we've got Josh, a director and writer for the show. What's up, Josh?
Hello, I'm here.
It's a Josh. We've got a Liam, another director and writer of the show.
Hi, I'm Liam, the writer and director for this show.
Yep. Did you just wake up?
Kind of feels like it. Just a tad. I've been
the
awake.
way you responded there,
I've been
I was
awake
like,
since 8 a.m. I've been busy today, but no, kind of feels like I just woke up.
And then
Not
we've
on
got
white.
Aaron, producer extraordinaire of the show.
Hello, that's me.
I guess it's just the show now.
Yeah, I've taken over it all.
All right. So, hey, everybody. Welcome. We've got the chat open over here. So, if you're watching this live, as we do this every Tuesday at 3 p.m. Central Live, feel free to chime in and also say hi to all the mods as well, as they are taking care of things and making sure everything is all good to go. All right. So, today we have a couple things to talk about, a couple things to show. We're gonna have a community death battle between two characters who I was not expecting to do this with, but this should be really interesting. Specifically with Beast Boy and Nimona. You may have seen the more recent animated film for Nimona that came out, but I believe it was like a graphic novel or a comic before that, right?
It was, yeah, it was a webcomic that then was turned into a graphic novel.
Nice.
There we go. There we go. yes, I don't know anything about Nimona, so this is going to be very
Same.
interesting. And then we also will have a little tiny little itsy sneak peek for a certain death battle that's coming up very soon. So stay tuned for that. Okay. Oh my goodness. Let's talk about this. So
Nimona.
I don't think that's how you say
Monona
the name.
flowers. Nimona.
I am so excited about the animated series for Scott Pilgrim.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Is it because I said Ramona Flowers?
You said Ramona
Yeah.
Flowers, and I was like, oh right, that's coming out.
Oh yeah.
I don't remember
Yeah.
when it's actually coming out, but the fact that they got the entire cast from the movie, I watched that movie like maybe a month ago or something like that again.
We know that everybody
it's
that's
so
worked on
good.
the show has seen this fucking movie.
Loves
It's like
it.
like a
At
prerequisite.
least a small
to-
handful of times, and may have all been our personalities at one point or another.
Speaking of excellent black and white comic adaptations, there is an anime adaptation of Uzumaki by Junji Ito coming out soon, and it looks fucking
Really?
great. Because there was
Yeah.
a Junji Ito collection anime a couple of years back, and it was not good because it did not adapt his art style into animation very elegantly. But this looks fucking great.
I haven't seen
I'm very
anything about
excited.
that. That's really cool.
Yeah, it just had
I'll
some
check that
trailers.
out.
It looks incredible.
Yeah,
And I mean,
no, it looks
Uzumaki
really
is just a
cool.
classic.
Yeah.
Maybe we watch that together in Champion Cast after
Oh.
this.
That would be
Ooh.
fantastico.
Yeah.
Ooh.
That's,
Okay.
That's Liam for fantastic.
Oh, Liam's its own language now.
Yeah. Well, this is it's a verbal and physical language. So whenever you say a word, you have to do this. So it's not fantastico, it's fantastico, and then that's the word. That's actually what it is.
Okay, before Liam digs too much more of a hole, let's go ahead and jump into the community death battle.
There's an odd energy in our little virtual studio today. I don't know what it
I
is.
think that's fair.
There's a
Yeah.
thunderstorm going on right now. I feel kind of like a pet dog or bird or something that's like heeding the sort of the bad signs of the coming storm. But
I
it's,
mean,
it's good overall.
to be fair,
All right. It made me
right
turn off my
before we
fucking
all
AC.
went live, literally all of us admitted that we wanted a nap.
Yeah, I want.
Maybe we're all
Guilty.
getting old. I don't know, but we all want to take a
Oh,
nap
that's
right now.
Yeah, I would be down for a nap, but I have to keep seeing people. I'm interviewing people to see this room. We have a roommate moving out, so I've got a couple of those later tonight. There's just so many. But we have to do it
Naps? What?
so.
Oh, okay.
the room-
Anyway,
the room.
I just wasn't sure how that
Scuba?
translated from like I'm
Oh, because
sleepy.
I'm
Oh,
tired.
I'm getting a
because
new
it is
You
roommate
have
in.
more
work.
things to do.
I'm
Yes,
tired.
more things to do. More things to do.
I'm
Okay.
I'm going to sleep now. Goodbye.
No, Liam, we need you to argue
All
for
right.
Beast Boy.
I guess I win then.
Aaron, you automatically
Nice.
win for
No,
Nimona.
I have to win. I am the winning boy.
There
I
we
am the
go.
debate boy who debates and wins.
All right, we've woken him up. We've woken him up now.
Debate
All
boy.
right,
We can
well,
get into it.
yeah. You guys can clip that. I am the debate boy.
That's excellent.
All right. Can that be on your new X profile or whatever it's called nowadays?
Yeah, my X profile.
I am the debate boy.
Hey, Mom, I've got an X profile. You've got a what?
We
It's
all
Twitter,
do.
Mom. Don't worry
They
about it.
Right?
did this to us.
Oh, anyway, all right, let's talk about this. Okay, Beast Boy versus Nimona. Liam is going to be representing Beast Boy. Aaron is going to be representing Nimona. It is their job to convince the jury to vote for their respective character in any means necessary. The jury is going to consist of 3 seats: myself, Josh, and you all watching this live right now. There will be a poll later on that you'll be able to vote on and decide who will win the death battle. Gross.
Oh my gosh. Whoa,
Alright.
that was so much. Oh my gosh. Oh, shit, that was so... Whoa. I'm so sorry.
Who
That
would
was
have thought?
so much.
You
We are-
okay?
So much. There was like a... Oh my God,
Are
it was
you
like a
supposed to
fucking-
be here?
was like
Like,
a
are you
telegram.
okay?
Holy
we are
fuck,
we
that
are
was
all
so much.
professionals here.
Don't
Don't worry about it.
It does feel like a Beast Boy thing to do.
Jesus. Whoa. That's actually relevant to one of his tweets later on, and I'm not even
Great.
joking, technically.
Sure. Why not?
Oh, where is Chad when we need him?
Go!
Jealousy
I
Man,
want to
thank
be-
you for the 10
Go!
gifted memberships. Oh my god. Are you okay to do this, Liam? Like, seriously?
Yes. I was.
Okay,
I
good.
was
Then
like,
you're up.
"Nap?"
Let's talk about
Okay,
Beast Boy.
great.
60 seconds on the clock. Go.
Okay, so Beast Boy. He's a boy that's a beast. His powers to turn into any animal he can think of. This ranges from the largest animals on Earth to the smallest, even to amoeba, who are not even technically classified as animals, to alien animals that he's never even seen before, except for the first time. They said, Liam, you can't do comic book because we know comic book feats Beast Boy will destroy. And I was like, oh, okay. So this is just Teen Titans. But the amazing thing about Teen Titans is that whereas with comic scaling, a lot of like street tier characters are more clearly delineated in terms of power sets. So like Batman doesn't scale to Superman. That'd be crazy. In the Teen Titans, all 5 Teen Titans fight and take hits from the same exact people, and they fight each other. They all scale to one another. The funniest is Robin. Robin absolutely has taken hits from a bloodlusted Starfire before. It's crazy, and Beast Boy is not an exception there. So he has some actual crazy fucking stat feats to do, and also some crazy animal feats.
Awesome. Yes. A good note to bring up. We are specifically looking at Teen Titans, the show,
Nice.
Beast Boy, just so that it can sort of pair up a little more nicely with against Nimona, who only has, I guess, like 2-3 sources to pull from in total.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
dozens and tens of years of comic books against that might be a little unfair. All right. So
Black Swordsman. Yes, he actually does have Trigon scaling in the cartoon, but kind of. You'll see. We'll get.
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure, man.
Mm,
Kage, I did see. Thank you for the gifted subs. All right, Aaron, are you ready to talk
Yeah.
about Nimona?
Sure. I do just want to say as well, this matchup was suggested for us to do on cast by one of our researchers, Kian, and he was going to come on and argue for Nimona. Unfortunately, he had things come up with work. So I ended up taking it over because out of everybody in the office, I am the only one that's both seen the movie and read the graphic novel. So it kind of had to go to me for who is aware of it. And yeah, Kian and Liam had talked about and agreed to limit Beast Boy in that way to make it a more interesting fight. Although honestly, I don't know all that much about Beast Boy, so maybe later we do talk about some comic feats because I would be interested to know what he's got going on.
Is Nim-
But
is
as
Nimona
far
kind of crazy?
I mean she's got stuff.
Okay, let's talk about
Um,
Nimona.
Yeah, let's get into my rundown. So, yeah, she just had the movie come out, but originally this material comes from a graphic novel. Nimona is Nimona. We don't actually really know what she is. She's never fully defined as what she is. What we do know about her is that she can transform into basically any kind of living creature. This can includes all sorts of animals, fantasy animals, large shadowy constructs. She can also turn into other humanoid beings and mimic other people basically perfectly. She has the way that she transforms lends her to a lot of strength, a lot of accelerated healing ability. She can take explosions, she can destroy buildings. It is interesting because in kind of a base level she is difficult to define, but it is through what she does and the abilities that she has, specifically feats that she has in the graphic novel, that I think she ends up being a very fun matchup to Beast Boy and kicks his ass at least a little bit.
Okay. Okay.
Kicks his
So
ass a little bit.
At least a
At
little bit.
least, yeah.
At least. Okay, we'll see. We'll see.
run me through the basic, just the basic premise of Nimona.
Yeah. So, because yeah, I think, I mean, of the three, well, have any of you seen the movie or graphic novel, or am I just talking about
I've
a
been
girl
meaning
you
to
have
watch.
no idea about whatsoever?
I've seen the trailer for the movie, and I wanted to see the movie, and I was going to like offer to like take Nimona if nobody else did, but then
Mm.
I found out it was based on a comic, and I was like, oh shit, I don't know anything about the comic, and I don't necessarily want to rep it then.
Mm.
But I am interested in seeing the movie, but I haven't seen it yet.
So I'm continuing my grand tradition of talking about a really cool piece of media that none of you know anything about, so I just spoil it all for you in order to argue
Yep.
for the character.
That's the nature
Welcome
of the
to
job.
Deathbat.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Good.
that's how we do
Good.
things
We're
here.
This
used
is
to
fine.
it.
But yeah, so the premise of Nimona, the story of Nimona takes place in a modern fantasy world, so it's all very much kind of like high medieval aesthetics, but also they have, you know, a bunch of advanced science and electricity and you know, machine guns and all of that. Nimona is a hench person. She is the right hand to a villain, Lord Ballister Blackheart, who is trying to expose the government of the world for secretly being corrupt. And it's kind of a story that follows you know his attempts to take down the institution, and ultimately becomes the story of how, you know, she's the quirky sidekick, but really she is the protagonist of the story, and it is like around her that majority of the conflict takes place. And the movie, I think, did a pretty good job of adapting the original work and kind of does stay true to that story. However, the movie definitely softened things a bit. The graphic novel gets into a lot more violence, pretty intense violence, and about specifically conflicts around Nimona herself. In the graphic novel, the big conflict at the end is that she gets captured by this corrupt institution, and you know, what they end up doing to her while she is captured, they experiment on her to try to understand how her abilities work, ends up kind of breaking her emotionally and kind of mentally, which leads to her transforming into this massive, angry, shadowy dragon beast that cannot be stopped or tamed. And they end up just straight up super exploding her to get her to stop from destroying the entire city. Of course, this is a super big explosion that she survives because she is nigh impossible to kill. If there is a way to kill her, they have yet to find it.
Why is she not
Okay.
impossible to kill? What's the basis for it?
Yeah. So
I already
Mike,
know the answer.
yeah, I got the feeling that you do. Something tells me that you do. Mike, if we can pull up page 192.
Oh, I hope you have 190 images.
I didn't. I like our casting director, Mike. I didn't want to be mean to him and send him 300 and something pages out of a graphic novel. But yeah, so this is when she is captured by the Institute, and they are trying to figure out how it is that her ability works. And from the energy readings from her, they determine, quote, every time she changes form, every single cell in her body is destroyed and new ones are generated in their place.
Whoa.
She's not molding herself into new forms. It's every time her whole body dies and a new one grows in its place. And her transformations happen instantaneously. She will go from being in her humanoid form into an animal form between two comic panels, and multiple times it is kind of a visual gag of her like scaring people by suddenly being, you know, a rhino or a dragon or an ankylosaurus or a whale or a shark or a combination of those animals. She can transform only portions of her body. So yeah, she you know, you can so long as even a cell of her exists, she will regenerate.
So it sounds like to me, because Beast Boy's thing, as far as I'm aware, is specifically he is a humanoid person, but he can transform into animals.
Yes.
Whereas Nimona sounds like somebody who is more so like she is an entity that can just be whatever she wants to be.
Mhm.
If there's a, I guess there's not that much of a difference between that, but like to me there is.
Yeah.
um, so is she like a
She
demon or something? Like where
she
does she?
essentially, yeah, she essentially has no like base form. She is not a human that turns into things.
Hmm,
Any iteration of her is as much Nimona as anything else. You know, she can have forms that are a bit more unstable, but ultimately it's not like, yeah, she's not like human transforms into creature. She is entity transforms into whatever she wants to transform into.
gotcha. And
Uh
and
and
so
yeah,
she wasn't
it's
born as a human. She like what is she?
it
I guess you did
is
say that we
So
don't
we don't really
know,
know.
but
yeah, it is ambiguous.
okay,
It She comes from a world in which there is this intersection of magic and science, so kind of a part of the story goes through, well,
mm,
is she magically based? Is she scientifically based? Is she a mixture of the both? Where did she come from? Why is she like this? Is there another creature like her? And the answer that the source material gives is we simply do not know.
interesting.
It is established in the text that within this kind of fantasy world, there do exist other kinds of shapeshifters. You know, they establish like, oh, you know, there's werewolves and selkies and other kind of, you know, people who change their shape, but she is far and above all of those kinds of things.
Interesting.
Is the
Okay.
story ongoing or has it finished?
It's finished,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
So it truly is a
Just we
who,
don't
who
know.
can say?
Yeah.
Yeah. Per
Cool.
per the movie, they do establish that she, you know, we don't like see a majority of like her upbringing or like a parentage or anything like that, but in the movie they establish like, oh yeah, I've always been this way. I woke up like this one day and I was just here.
Hmm.
She also is like 1,000+ years old.
Okay.
She looks like a teenager, but she is a like non-aging entity and has been around
So
for a very long time. Yeah.
does she choose to present herself as a teenager? Like she's chosen the way
Mhm.
that she looks? Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
There's points like emotionally charged points in both the movie and the graphic novel in which she more naturally presents like as a younger like kid version of herself, to kind of show like how she's feeling small essentially.
Mm.
She also like can disguise herself as like other humans, so she disguises herself as like a little boy at one point, and then she disguises herself as her boss Blackheart at one point. She disguises herself as other people to do like espionage. So yeah, she kind of has a base form in that you know, the Nimona that you see on like the cover of the book and in the movie is like how she most often chooses to present,
Hmm.
but she doesn't really have a true appearance by that definition.
I have
Interesting.
I have a
Okay.
couple questions.
Yeah.
Um, is there any? Does she have any specific weakness, like any specific body part, that if you were to damage it, it would kill her regardless of her
Sure
healing
sounds
factor?
like you know
That
exactly
happened
what the
in the
answer
movie.
is.
So I'm just cutting to the heart of the argument, Aaron.
Ah, I
By all
see what you
means,
did
by all means, jump
there.
in.
Is it her
So
heart? Is that
Yes,
what it is?
yes, it's her
what
heart.
Liam is
Jeez.
alluding to is that within the movie there is a moment that sets up that if she were to be stabbed through the heart, that she would die. This is not substantiated by the original source material. And we don't see her get stabbed through the heart. So, as far as the movie canon is concerned, we don't know that it actually would have killed her.
Just Nimona thought it would kill her. And what the fuck does Nimona know? She's a freaking moron. Probably just lying about herself.
Yeah.
She was about to do it, and then somebody stopped her and apologized to her. So
Well, that's nice.
I guess technically,
Sorry for almost stabbing you in the heart.
No, she
Yeah,
refused herself.
Oh, what
it isn't
page is
something
it?
where,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, okay,
yeah,
okay,
she has not had any kind of harm done to her that has actually killed her. She let's pull up Mike page 1 first.
Oh my goodness. I feel like if her heart was vulnerable, then her getting disintegrated or whatever was going on when she was being experimented on would have affected her heart too.
Maybe, unless she had taken the form of some sort of creature with the magical
That doesn't
ability
have
to
a heart?
regenerate.
Yeah, I mean, could she shapeshift
Sort of like
into
a-
like an inanimate object that doesn't have a heart?
She shapeshifted into a phoenix.
Mm.
And
Oh, okay.
Aaron, how long did it take her to right, we're talking about a death battle, so in terms
Yes.
of her regeneration, she regenerated instantly from that attack, right?
Mhm.
She did! Wow, that's amazing! Because I'm looking at the Wikipedia page, and it says, the resulting explosion destroys the wall, revealing a beautiful blah, blah, blah. Sometime later, the kingdom undergoes several changes. The breach in the wall has become a trade road. Nimona, who is presumed dead, and Ballister are honored as heroes. Ballister restores his relationship with Ambrosius. Later, while he is visiting his old hideout, a seemingly resurrected Nimona appears to an overjoyed Ballister. How long did it take? How long did it take in the movie,
There it
Aaron? Is that the movie, Aaron? Am I looking at the movie, Aaron? Liam,
As
you're not allowed
I've
to use the
mentioned a
comic.
few times, there's a graphic novel.
Yes, there is.
So,
Okay,
all right.
yeah,
So,
you
yeah,
did
this is
mention
the
this
page from
page.
earlier. So, this is not as much as her getting disintegrated, which happens later, but this page and then the following page, Mike 156, establishes that even in her dragon form, which is because it's one of the like largest and angriest, it's considered one of the more like unstable ones. She does survive being beheaded, and she just regenerates in kind of her shadow form, which is kind of like her going like big kaiju moment, which is also what happens in the movie. So in both the movie and in the graphic novel, she gets super exploded, and you think that she's very dead. She is pretty much fully disintegrated, and in both there is a bit of a time skip. In the graphic novel, it's like not even 2 days. In the movie, it's a longer period of time, but in the graphic novel, it's not even 2 days. Now, it does get into ambiguous territory of, did it actually take her 2 days to reconstitute, or did it happen instantly and then she only reappeared this amount of time later when it was clear that like it was safe for her to return? It's an ambiguity. We simply don't know. But there's other places where she does. I don't actually know that I sent this page, but in the graphic novel, when she's captured by the Institute, she's stuck within this sphere that she can't break out of because it's like a self-healing alloy, so she's stuck in it. And the Institute, because they're trying to figure out what she is, end up taking a little bit of her blood, which contains her cells, and they take that outside of the thing that she is trapped in, and it is from that small amount of blood from those cells she becomes that really massive shadow dragon. So even just a few cells, she is able to then transform into a really big creature. And this will actually be the last page I show. I'm not going to show you the whole graphic novel, but Mike, page 202. What this page also establishes, because you can see there's a big shadowy creature, and there's also Nimona herself in the little sphere that she's trapped in.
Oh.
She is able to do more than one iteration of herself. It does make her unstable, and she mentions a few pages later that essentially that this is going to eventually resolve with the weaker iteration of her disintegrating and kind of rejoining back into the core form. But she
Mm.
is able, through that blood being taken out of the sphere, from those blood cells, she makes this massive dragon creature instantaneously. Like, she waits so she can do a dramatic reveal, but she does it instantaneously.
I'm so fucking happy that you said that. I didn't know that she could do. I didn't know that was a feat, but that is such a wonderful transition into a feat I was gonna bring up later. But
Yeah.
gosh, it's been handed to me on a silver platter.
Well, let's
Ah,
get into it.
Okay.
I love
Lauren.
it.
Go
What
for
what
We
it.
talked
Oh,
what do you want to
boy.
talk about?
Anyway, just to like sum up the point that I was making before. Nimona's regeneration is very impressive. It can regenerate from huge wounds like decapitation. But in terms of the big feat that people talk about, which is her regenerating from like being completely disintegrated or like like blown the fuck up, takes place
Super
over in a
exploded.
yep. You can only really be exploded. Like super exploded, it's like not a different, but okay, super exploded. Um,
It is
that
the
takes an
correct term.
ambiguously
Yes.
long time for her to regenerate. And the time frames that were given in the comic and in the show or in the Netflix series are like longer than past the point that a death battle would be over. So in terms of that, I think that's a huge mark against her because Beast Boy could absolutely do damage to her that would like keep her from continuing the fight.
Well, let's talk about Beast Boy.
Let's talk about Beast
You've
Boy.
asked a lot of Nimona questions. I'm curious what you've got for Beast
So
Boy.
Beast Boy can turn into. I mean, do I need to list off? Like you can. We get it. Like tons of animals. Animals that are extinct, like
The
dinosaurs.
Teen Titans
pterosaurs.
version is exclusively animals, though, right?
Uh,
Or beasts, basically.
Nah, I mean, technically not. The comics version has he can turn into animals that don't exist, that are just described. The comics version can turn into mythological creatures,
Yeah.
like the Monkey King, um, and a phoenix. But Beast Boy in the cartoon turns into animals that exist, including some creatures that you wouldn't normally consider animals, like an alien animal. He was able to turn into this Tamaranian beast when they visit Tamaran and the Starfire's getting married. And it's worth mentioning that Tamaranian beasts are Tamaranian and are strong enough to terrify Tamaranians as strong as like Starfire, which is very impressive. We'll get into scaling a little bit. I think most impressively, I brought this up earlier. He was able to. He technically was one of the only characters, technically the only character besides Full Power Raven to actually hurt Trigon in a meaningful way. Like the other Titans, Starfire was like throwing star bolts at him, and he was like asleep. He didn't even wake up. It wasn't until Beast Boy flew into his ear as a hummingbird and then transformed into a blue whale inside of his head cavity that he went ah. So he did the Thanos up the butt Ant-Man thing to Trigon. It was actually able to hurt him.
20 years early.
20 years early. But I think most interestingly is what Aaron talked about. Aaron talked about two things. Nimona being able to regenerate from the cellular level, and Nimona being able to exist in two forms, like have two cloned versions of herself.
Mm.
There was an episode where Cyborg got a computer virus, and that computer virus, it's called Crash, and the computer virus manifested as like this actual like physical virus inside of Cyborg's body, infecting his entire being, infecting his cells, sending out antibodies. Beast Boy is able to turn, even though it's not technically an animal, is able to turn into an amoeba in order to shrink down and navigate Cyborg's body. And at the end, the viral core is like, what are you supposed to fucking do as an amoeba? You're just a little fucking loser, and you're not strong enough to hurt me.
What?
They said
that in the show?
They said that word for word.
Wow.
Beast Boy went.
Direct
Beast Boy
quote
went,
from the comics, yes.
Beast Boy went, what do amoeba do? Mike, if you could bring up image 1 and then image 2, please. I think image 2. He multiplied. And every single one of those little Beast Boy amoebas was talking and laughing independently of one another. And I checked this just to make sure. But amoeba, according to the University of Utah, to reproduce, they copy. They're talking about amoeba. To reproduce, they copy their DNA. Then the cell constricts in the middle and pinches apart. The two amoeba are exact copies of each other. Those are each individual Beast Boys who could, independently of one another, turn into giant fucking blue whales if they wanted. Nimona can split into two
Green
and then
whales,
becomes
green
and then
whales,
becomes green whales and becomes unstable just by copying herself once. Beast Boy can do it. Mike, if you could bring up image 2. I think image 2. Yes, image 2. Can do it millions upon millions of times. So much that he was filling the entirety. This is just like one little like blood vessel, quote unquote, within Cyborg. Enough to fill Cyborg's entire body and absorb this virus that had infected the entirety of Cyborg's bodies. If Beast Boy wanted to, he could go inside of Nimona and then flood her fucking internal organs and blood vessels and subsume every single one of her cells. And if she tried to shrink down into an amoeba to combat him at that level, well, then she's just one amoeba and he tears her apart. So,
well, I
that's
don't see
just-
how
wait.
that would stop her from just transforming, destroying all of her cells, regenerating.
Yeah,
Because he
okay,
can
okay. A couple things. One, I mean, if she were to become an amoeba, why wouldn't she be able to just do the same thing?
because she hasn't. Because Beast Boy is splitting.
But I mean, by that
way
same argument,
faster.
have you seen, like, is there any evidence that these other amoeba that Beast Boy's turning into, like, creating, have his powers?
Yes. Yes.
So we have seen multiple Beast Boy amoeba
Yes.
turn back into Beast Boy or into
Uh-huh.
other things.
Yeah, and they merge back into a Beast Boy at the end.
Wait, they merge into Beast Boy?
Yeah. The two Beast Boys.
So it's just one Beast Boy, actually.
No, it's multiple Beast Boys. There were multiple Beast Boys.
Why do they
that
merge?
come together? Because Beast Boy exists as one person, and he doesn't want to be cloned.
Well, okay. I
And
mean,
the
we got a
episode was
cat
all-
on screen now, so we got an actual beast.
Nice fucking try. Nice.
I'm
fucking
sorry,
try.
my
Change
my
the
mic.
subject.
Yeah, well, that too.
No, no,
my
chat-
mic
chat-
picked up my cat, and the chat was demanding, and I
Chat
had to
was
play the
asking
cat
for cat.
text. There you go.
Excellent.
He's now run off. That's all you get.
So now that has successfully distracted us from the amoeba talk.
Yeah.
Any chance there
Um,
was a reason Beast Boy wasn't constantly doing that? Is that like something he can't always do?
So replace Beast Boy with every single character we've ever had on this show, and I think that's the answer.
to a certain
Beast
extent,
Boy is also very single-minded.
Mhm.
He is the group's he's the point man who runs in and fucks shit up, but he's clever when he needs to be. He says at the end of that episode, "I'm not smart enough to think." He said, "I'm not smart enough to think of the perfect thing, but I'm dumb enough to try everything," and that's how he wins at the end.
yeah. I mean, would he even think to use amoeba cloning powers against Nimona?
He is thought to use like shrinking powers to get inside of people.
Sure.
And I think in the same way that Nimona is extremely hard to kill because of her regeneration, even though that regeneration takes time, and even big wounds like cutting her in half and creating two Nimonas can destabilize her. Beast Boy is way too tough. Like feats wise, the Teen Titans are fucking busted. And unlike with, well, Beast Boy in the fucking comic is a herald. Like he can turn into creatures
Yeah,
that
we're not
fight
talking about
300.
comic book.
We're not.
Beast
We're
Boy,
not.
talking-
I was gonna
Teen
say-
Titans does have comics, but
They do.
we're
do.
specifically
And
talking
we're
about the
talking
Teen
that.
Titans
And
continuity.
what I'm saying is that like in comics, there's usually a stronger delineation in feats, and in Teen Titans, they're just like Robin can fight alongside Starfire, even though
Yeah.
Starfire, yeah. So let's
Fly
talk.
through space.
Can fly through space at literal like thousands of times the speed of light. Actually, in a literal sense, Beast Boy himself has dodged Dr. Light's light. The G1 blog, our lovely G1 blog, that does episode predictions for us, actually did a Toph versus Terra episode. So they did a big feat calc thing
nice.
through all of Teen Titans. It was just Teen Titans Terra. That's all you needed to win. And I have
Or
some feats and calcs here. He dodged Dr. Light's light beams. Dr. Light manipulates light. They're actual light beams. It was calced to like 3 times the speed of light. Starfire was able to fly past the moon in a few seconds, also 3 times faster than light, interestingly. Blackfire, her sister, was able to fly between solar systems within a couple of days, from 200 to 16,000 times faster than light. Beast Boy would scale to all of that, especially in a certain alien form that he get, or not alien, but certainly in a special animal form that he gets called the Werebeast, which is sort of this like kind of made up monster. It's kind of like a Sasquatch thing. He gets drenched in this like special fluid, this like comic book radioactive fluid, and develops a new transformation. And he does keep it in later episodes. And it's strong enough to like fight Cyborg, Starfire, and Robin all at the same time. It was strong enough to like beat the crap out of Raven. It wasn't him that did it. It was Adonis, who also transformed into the same creature, but they thought it was Beast Boy. But they were evenly matched, so he'd scale. Very powerful, physically one of the strongest Titans, aside from like, obviously peak Raven is way stronger than all the rest of them. Yeah.
Louis Balbuena in the chat does have a good point. Is Batman Lightspeed because he also dodges Dr. Light's beams? Isn't Dr. Light's beams like they're like he solidifies light? So it's not like actually light.
In Teen Titans, they are literal light beams. Also, Black Canary. Black Canary can dodge, can move within a nanosecond. We had her appear in an episode.
She's got a weird mutant power of some kind.
That doesn't affect her. There are a ton of like relativistic street level speed feats for both DC and Marvel. Daredevil moves in like a microsecond or something like that.
Yeah, but he's got a weird goop power. So
Beast Boy he got
goop in his face.
It all comes down to weird
Beast Boy
goop.
has transforming animal powers. And again, like
but he transforms into like a dog. Dogs can't dodge light.
Even if they transform into amoebas, it's gonna fuck the way this shit up.
I mean,
Cyborg was also.
Not to harp on the same point, I just don't see how him becoming a bunch of amoebas within her cellular structure.
Understand it.
I don't get it, Liam. Can you explain it to me in smaller words,
He
please?
was able to destroy a viral core down at the cellular level and to subsume all of it. He'd be able to do the same thing to Nimona. I assume if Nimona's DNA is not able to survive,
she would just be destroyed and then
she would just
regenerate.
be destroyed at the subatomic level, at the conceptual level, and then would just come back to life.
Which she does whenever she transforms into a new creature anyway.
No.
So
when she transforms, she gets destroyed entirely and then regenerates.
She is able to destroy herself down to the cellular level, reconstruct her cells. That DNA is still there. Saying that it goes beyond that is extrapolating her powers. It's also something that takes several days to do. And
not all the time.
Not all the time for
specifically that big explosion potentially took multiple days. We don't actually know. Super. It could have been a minute, and then she just was like hiding because it sounds like she went through some serious shit and could have needed a vacation.
Anybody
and at
listening,
least through the movie version,
high end, that's definitely giving Nimona the benefit of the doubt.
Oh sure,
where I don't think it's been established.
It's the issue of its like off-screen content, right? So we simply don't know. We just know that story-wise, she doesn't make a reappearance to the other main characters for within the movie. Probably
what about in the comic?
Within the comic,
a couple of days.
A few days.
Is it
before
the same
she makes
context
herself known to?
Before she shows back up. It is entirely possible that the big explosion happens, she reforms, and she's just like, I don't want to be here. I'm leaving. All this other shit is happening, so I'm just gonna hide for a couple days. And then she comes back when everybody's like, "Where's Nimona?" And her friend, what's his name, Black something?
Blackheart.
Blackheart's like, "Oh man, it's so." I'm just assuming.
Yeah.
Oh man, I miss Nimona.
He's very sad about her dying.
And so she eventually works up the courage to come back. Yeah. I can see that being the case. Either way, I do think just outright saying Nimona absolutely takes extra time to reform herself from a super explosion or whatever. It's not necessarily 100% locked in, but it's also not 100% locked in that she would be able to do it instantly.
Yeah, I think generally, I've been led to believe on this show that we need like positive proof of some kind that she can regenerate in a short enough time to continue the fight, rather than saying, well, we don't know, so let's just
Yeah.
assume that she can. Even
Well,
though there's
normally what
only
we
two
would do
instances.
is for an actual death battle is we would go through the entire series, analyze how she transforms and whether or not that would affect this super explosion thing, and then come to a conclusion of our best conclusion of what potentially happened, and then use that. But for a death battle cast,
That's not my
it's
fault
up to
that
everybody's interpretation.
did not happen. That is not my fault that did not happen. I did not it did.
We just have to like email the author like, hey Nate, I'm in an argument with my coworkers.
I do not think that I
First
should
Love
of
your
all,
How
work,
long
but
did it
can you
take
let
for
me know?
Nimona to reconstitute herself after the super explosion? You know, that super
Yeah.
explosion.
I also think
All
that
right.
there was something to do with the fact that it was a phoenix, right? It was a phoenix.
Well,
that was
speaking
blown
of
up.
Phoenix, I think
Hey.
it's long. I think it's been a while, so or we're ways into the show.
Oh
So
yeah,
I think now is a great time to show off the
Phoenix
sneak
and Raven.
peek for the upcoming death battle of Phoenix versus Raven.
I'm really excited about this. What? Wait.
Come to burn my home to ashes.
The demon inside you is too strong to be left alive. I'm sorry. This is for the good of the universe. Azarath Metreon Zethos! Darkness, take you!
What's the matter? Afraid of the dark.
You don't control my mind!
Yeah,
Wow.
it's so good. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'll tell you a little bit more about some of the behind the scenes for the episode in just a minute. I do need to talk about our sponsor for this week's episode, Mint Mobile. From the gas pump to the grocery store, your utility bills and favorite streaming services. Guess what? Inflation is here, hiding behind every corner, ready to make things worse. Seriously, I want it to stop, please. But thankfully, there is one company out there that is giving you a much needed break, and it's Mint Mobile. As the first company to sell premium wireless service online only, Mint Mobile lets you order from home and save a ton with phone plans starting at just $15 a month. By going online only and eliminating the traditional costs of retail, Mint Mobile passes significant savings on to you. All plans come with unlimited talk and text plus high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. And you can use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and keep your same phone number along with all your existing contacts. That's kind of huge. That's really important to me. Please, thank you. So to get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and get the plan shipped to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/cast. That's mintmobile.com/cast. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/cast. Thank you very much, Mint Mobile. Let's talk a little bit about Phoenix Raven before we get into the voting. This episode is definitely one that, oh my gosh, a bunch of memberships just came in while I was reading that off. Thank you so much, Shelton, Man, and Grant. Really appreciate that. If anybody here got and Ken Jorks, oh my goodness, there's so many.
Amazing.
Oh my gosh, if anybody got a membership from them, please thank them, because like that's huge.
Thank you.
Holy crap.
Amazing.
Wow, that's incredible.
That's
Yeah.
nuts.
So Phoenix Raven, we talked a little bit about this way back in the day when we did Twilight versus Raven. We were like, we don't really know enough about Raven, so we're gonna jump into we're gonna use Twilight as the our sort of first venture against her and see where that lands. And I know some people were definitely responded like, hey, you know what, you guys should do Phoenix versus Raven. At the time we were like, I don't know, that seems like a kind of an obvious like matchup, right?
Yeah.
And then we started looking into it, and man, both these characters have so much more going on than you might think.
Yeah.
There's so many different forms, so many different powers, and also like the connections, just the the emotional connection between them is fascinating. So I've been really excited working on this episode, and I'm hyped to finally get it out to you guys. It's coming out this upcoming weekend, this Sunday for members, and then on Monday for everyone else. So definitely stay tuned for that. Of course, we've got our sprite team, Luis, Gus, and Zach on the animation with Annie and Origin working on it as well, and as well as Moro, I believe the first time working on
Mhm.
Death Metal, which is fantastic. There's some incredible Raven or Soul Self and Phoenix animation that Moro put together, which is so good. It gets really
It's
good.
amazing.
Music's by Aaron, of course. That was pretty hype. We definitely
So
wanted to make sure
good.
that we had some. I really want to make sure that there's that like 90s and 2000s Teen Titans like feel to it.
Yeah,
It's so
and
and
good.
it has the sting. It has that.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good.
Kara Buckland is back
So
as
hyped.
Raven, and our good friend Corey Pettit is voicing Jean Grey,
Nice.
because of course she is. That was an instant choice for me. So yeah, be sure to check that out, and we'll share the sneak peek at the end of the cast as well, in case you want to see it again. Okay, so let's get into this vote. Let's go ahead and do closing statements real quick, just to see
Yeah.
if there's anything that you guys think like maybe you missed or didn't say about your characters. Let's go ahead and start with Nimona. Is there anything you wanted to close out with, or anything you didn't cover for Nimona?
I mean, honestly, I feel like we covered just about everything. It's kind of inherent when we have like a less popular, less familiar character, right? We ended up talking about them a little bit more. But yeah, I mean, she's got that regeneration. She's extremely difficult to kill. We didn't touch on it as much, but she's done like an insane amount of murder over her 1,000 years of being alive. So she would certainly
We didn't
want
talk
to
too
do
much
big murder
about
there.
the age difference. So
Mm.
what has she been doing for 1,000 years?
Generally causing chaos.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she's always been involved in some sort of like I guess stressful scenario, but not necessarily combat, but always like causing situations where she would have to like combat essentially, or something similar.
Yeah, she's annihilated a handful of villages in her day.
Okay.
She kind of goes from one location, hangs out there until she's like caught out for being a monster, destroys it, goes to the next one.
So
Got
it's
it.
only more recently that she was like a right hand. Like
Mhm.
prior to that, that's what she was doing. Okay.
Yeah, well, she also kind of wants to take down the main kind of government body, and she
Who
finds
doesn't?
Black. Yeah, right. But she finds Blackheart is basically just like, oh, you will be perfect for like helping me do this because she
Nice.
is more
Okay.
chaos than planning.
It's so interesting because my understanding of the movie, and I guess the book, is like she's the sidekick to the supervillain who's actually like the main character, or would be the main character, but
Yeah.
she's actually the main character, right? But
Mhm.
she takes the role of his sidekick. But it's actually just like for fun because she thinks that this would be the right place for that kind of thing.
Essentially, yeah, it's kind of that subversion of she's like, oh yeah, I'll be your sidekick, and then she's the driving force of
Mhm, mhm.
the story. So
I do have a
Yeah,
couple of
I love
things I
that.
still need to cover.
yeah.
No, okay, Liam, let's go ahead and talk about Beast Boy
Beast Boy has not been
again.
alive as for 1,000 years, but his experience is absolutely superior. Even in the cartoon, he's faced off against like armies of bad guys, super villains, super geniuses, evil organizations, an evil dark god that corrupted the entire world. I think his quality of experience training in martial arts with Robin um, uh, uh, pales. I mean, her experience pales in comparison to his, even with her longer lifespan. But in terms of like, I think the only other big thing I wanted to talk about was physical strength, because based on what I know about Nimona, looking at the debate beforehand, she's just does not compare in a physical confrontation. Um, Cyborg is capable of swinging skyscrapers around. Raven, not in her full power form, but even just holding back, was able to help hold back like Titan Tower falling. Villains like Thunder and Lightning are powerful enough to literally cause thunderstorms. Cyborg was also able to hold back. This is another calc I got from that blog. Was able to hold back an alien pod that was flying into Earth's atmosphere at subrelativistic speeds. That was calced to its kinetic energy and his strength for holding it back. 36.5 megatons of TNT. That would actually be more powerful than that town-busting laser that you mentioned before for Nimona. So Beast Boy himself is powerful enough to defeat Nimona in the same way that she was in the episode, and certainly far stronger and far faster. I mean, the faster than light stuff I brought up earlier, stronger, faster, tougher, and that's not mentioning any comic book stuff that Aaron asked me to bring up at the end, like turning into mythological creatures or tanking hits from Cyborg's sonic cannon, which, very similar to our Adam West Batman episode, can produce decibels in the tens of millions. Which
wait, is this in Teen Titans or is this in the comic?
No, this is in the comic. Aaron told me to bring up comic feats at the end.
I asked him to bring up comic at the end because I thought it'd be funny.
Though to be fair, I didn't technically
make it all
ask,
confusing though.
I didn't technically ask or look up to see if it's still like 10 million decibels in the Teen Titans cartoon, because obviously a sonic cannon that emits 10 million decibels would destroy the universe like 10 to the quadrillion times powers over.
This is Cyborg?
This is Cyborg, yeah. It does in the comic. And
wonder.
Beast Boy is like a herald in the comic, so he absolutely just goes to Nimona and it's like over. But yeah, I think even just with the cartoon, hey, look, you want some crazy shit from the cartoon? Guess who they canonically cross over with? Their Teen Titans Go counterpart.
God damn it!
Universe level fucking like Toon Force reality warpers, like literally like crushing planets and destroying the universe.
Guys, guess what? We only have 5 minutes left in the episode, so we're gonna have to get to the
I thought we were gonna
you
make it.
So smart, limiting me to Teen Titans.
Oh no, look at that. The poll is up. You can go ahead and get your vote started. All right, let's go ahead and get to this. So, hey, we do have some answers from all of you that you provided to us before we started the show. So let's go ahead and bring up the first one. Let's see. We got from Nathan Biller. Even without some of Beast Boy's crazier transformations, his scaling is pretty ridiculous with some of the villains he's fought as a Titan. Nimona doesn't have a rogues gallery like his. Oh, that's an interesting point.
Mm-hmm.
Like just the variety of enemies. That is something we usually keep in mind when we're doing comparison. I assume, I don't remember an episode of Teen Titans that has this, but I assume he's fought a shapeshifter before.
He fought himself. Trigon creates an evil clone of himself.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay.
He technically loses to himself because they're like better clones, but then they like swap with the other Titans so that they like have better advantages against each other. But yeah, he does fight. Change it.
So, okay. Kindrax, thanks for another 5 Death Battle memberships gifted. Oh my goodness. All right, let's go ahead and bring up the answer for Nimona. Is from Funky Bukyo?
Funky Bukyo, yeah.
Funky. All right, Funky says.
Saturday night.
I would definitely vouch for Nimona. She could go full Godzilla or Ghidorah if it comes to it. Nimona's power is unlimited.
Unlimited power.
Well, I mean, if it's unlimited.
Shit. Damn it.
I guess she wins. Nice. Automatic. All right, let's go ahead and get to these votes. The first vote is going to be one you guys have already decided on. We are going to get the poll from the YouTube community tab. Let's go ahead and bring that up and get our first vote decided. Oh, wow, okay. Now, this might just be because Beast Boy is more well-known, but Beast Boy has 86% of the initial poll.
That's a pun. That's a pun right there. Nimona got 86th. It's the restaurant terminology for when you don't have any more of something. But 86.
Yeah, but we're not talking about restaurants, so it doesn't. It just sounds like you're talking about something weird.
With here, like I come at these people with these ideas, and I give them gifts every single day, and they spit them back in my face. And you spit in my face.
This is why you should vote for Liam, because he feels sorry for himself.
As we all know, Liam very rarely ever gets a W.
Never.
It's really hard to be Liam Swan. Okay.
I don't need your. Oh, I made my sub-screen as big as my main screen. Never mind. You guys can keep going.
Okay.
Now I only have to look at me. Look at this.
Well, you know what?
Oh wow. Okay, we get to see it.
Gosh, okay, Liam, it's gonna be crazy. See, that's the kind of power Nimona has, unlimited, which we can talk about now that we're starting our vote. All right, so we got one vote for Beast Boy. Time for us to vote, and then we'll get to the poll in the chat. Josh,
Yeah.
what are you thinking?
This is tough. I mean, I loved Teen Titans. Like, that version of Robin is my Robin. I love that show, and Beast Boy's great in it. And I could be wrong, but I'm just going to go with my gut here. And I feel like I'm going to go with the Regenerator with 1,000 years of experience. Like, I bet she's fought a shapeshifter at some point in that time. It's enough time to have, you know, like that probably has come up for her. So, yeah, I think I'm going to go Nimona.
Okay, yeah, the whole idea that she is constantly destroying herself and rebuilding herself every time she transforms definitely, I think, throws a wrench into this entire thing that I'm not really sure. I it would definitely need a lot more work to dig into to really establish how this death metal would really like go. But I have to. I hate to do it, but I think I have to side with Liam. I think Beast Boy's experience, even though it's not within 1,000 years, it's much less. I think he's gonna have way more experience, way more to work with in terms of like what he's transformed into and how he's used those transformations. And also he's fought. The closest thing I can think of to compare Nimona to is like some sort of like transforming demon, right? He's fought the literal king of demons essentially with Trigon. So I think I'm gonna have to give it to Beast Boy, but it's pretty close. I don't know.
Is that your final answer?
Aaron,
Oh.
what kind of you mentioned there were other shapeshifters. Are they like werewolf shapeshifters, or are there any other shapeshifters like Nimona in the world that she's in?
Nimona is entirely unique. The same world does contain other kinds of shapeshifters. Werewolves and selkies are what are specifically mentioned as also existing.
Okay, then I will begrudgingly have to give my vote to Beast Boy.
Begrudgingly.
But it is pretty close for me. All right, so we're gonna wrap things up with the poll from the chat. Ending it right now, we have 67% of the vote going to Beast Boy. Congratulations, Liam.
Quick, we can say whatever we want.
Hey, I can't hear a single damn thing any of you are saying. All I can hear is the horns of victory blowing in my ears.
Anyway, thank you all for thank you all for tuning into this episode of Death Metal Cast.
I can't hear anything. Now
thank you for taking on Nimona. Aaron, even
thank you, Aaron.
With
hey,
Beast Boy
at this point, I get set up to have to fight Liam in one of these casts, and I'm
Both
like,
you?
so long as I just move the dial a little bit on the vote, I'm gonna consider it a win.
That's
Both
true. That's
you
true.
And I had a little bone with this one because both you and Kian came to me independently and went, "Look, it's pretty obvious that Nimona wins. Like, it's really no contest."
That's
both of you
literally
said that
not.
to me, and I went, "All right, let's do it."
Okay, Liam, you're only allowed to lie before the vote.
Am I allowed to share Slack DMs?
I'm dead.
Josh just died from
All
that.
right.
Oh,
Dramatic reading. I know we're out of time.
Oh, we have dramatic reading.
Aaron Makla, 7:53 p.m. yesterday. Hey, so I'm taking over Nimona from Kian for cast. Per him, he talked to you about limiting Beast Boy to the cartoon. I do think that probably makes more sense for a fair fight, but I also think it would be fun for you to have a few comic feats / scaling, etc. in your back pocket to talk about at the end. Anyway, Liam Swan, 7:53 p.m. He replied very quickly for it being outside of work hours. You're 8:53. Shut up. Sure, that sounds like fun. I heard there's some crazy shit that he can turn into in the comics. And then 7:58 p.m. Aaron Makla. Yeah, I'm brushing up on the Nimona graphic novel, and she is ... basically unkillable ? or at least very extremely hard to kill. So I think having extra stuff to talk about her Beast Boy will make it for a more fun cast.
Liam, this is an unwinnable fucking thing for you. You need to bring. I know we talked about not doing comic feeds, but we gotta bring up some because Nimona's basically unkillable. Well,
What I'm hearing here. What I'm hearing here is that this whole thing was scripted, and I feel robbed.
Yeah.
What the heck? You guys planned this ahead of time?
This was
Oh no! All right. We'll show off that as that sneak peek in just a little bit. Once again, thanks to everybody for jumping into the Beast Boy versus Nimona argument. And until next time, be kind to others, be kind to yourself, be awesome. See you next week. Raven versus Phoenix is coming very soon. Let's check out that sneak peek one more time.
Come to burn my home to ashes.
The demon inside you is too strong to be left alive. I'm sorry. This is for the good of the universe. Azarath Metreon Zethos! Darkness, take you!
What's the matter? Afraid of the dark.
You don't control my mind!